Good afternoon, viewers and subscribers of D&J Drives. Today is Sunday, the 19th of January, 2025. It's 3:45 and currently 28 degrees Celsius. We've had some light rains in Barbados, but it's generally a nice clear day. We're continuing our Exploring the Parish of St. Michael series. And this is part 2 of the drive, and we are about to exit Prospect St. James. You can see the sign right here on this pole, this light pole coming up here, right here, this one. So this is where we enter St. Michael from St. James. So in part 1 we started from Christchurch, so we entered St. Michael from the south, and today we're entering St. Michael from the north. And the first thing we want to do is to turn down to this beautiful beach, Bats Rock. Sorry, this is the wrong entrance, it was changed. That was the old entrance. It's a bit adventurous driving down here. In modern times, this has become the main entrance to the Bats Rock Beach, overlooking Bats Rock Bay. And I'm sure you can see from here how beautiful, how extraordinarily beautiful this beach is. It's well known to many University of the West Indies students, because they would come here as students on a Friday and over the weekend and enjoy this beach. It's changed a lot since the 1990s, when it was more popular among the students. All of this area is closed off and there are other facilities here now. But this is the car park, and you can see those beautiful trees there. You can see the base of the trees. That can give you an idea of how old they are. And you can see the parking goes all the way down. So first stop, Bats Rock Beach. Highly recommended if you're coming to Barbados on a vacation. It allows for a gorgeous sunset, because this is actually right on the west coast of Barbados. You can see it right there. And there's a little play park here if you bring little children with you. They can have fun. Well, the adults can have fun there as well. So this is a beautiful area to explore on your visits to Barbados. I'm certain many people who have subscribed to this channel, especially from Trinidad and Tobago, are familiar with that beach, because many of them came here in the 1990s and earlier to study law, and there are many of them practicing law in Trinidad today and Tobago who would have used this entrance on the left here, and who have very fond memories of Bats Rock Beach and the, as they called it, the automat, where they bought their hot dogs. So we turn back as if heading north, just to take you into this residential areas. So we started on Highway 1. As you know, Highway 1 represents the west coast, and all of this is still in Prospect, but within St. Michael. So these homes here, their addresses will formally be just up around this point. We're just coming to this church. This is the Prospect Wesleyan Holiness Church. The plaque is dedicated to the memory of a lady who served God and the Prospect Wesleyan Holiness Church faithfully. Clotel Lolita Pilgrim. She was born in 1927 and died in 2011, and this is a very touching plaque because it honors her life. We don't know much about her, but this is a church that chose to honor her, and it's interesting because it's in Prospect, St. James, just on the cusp of it, but we wanted to show you all of these points into St. Michael before going further. If you look at this home, you can see they have a lovely view down to the ocean, overlooking the same Batsrock Bay that we just showed you. And then there's this one. So the peculiar thing about areas like this, there are several points in Barbados where people's addresses are split. They may be known to land tax as St. James, but they may be known to licensing as St. Michael. There are some people who actually receive statements for both St. Michael and St. James, or St. Thomas and St. James or St. Michael. Some people are just on the boundary. So this area here, this residential area, has that feature, but not those on this road. But you can see the properties here look a bit dated and quite opposite, or situated opposite several tourist accommodations which sit right on the west coast. The next point of interest here is the Usain Bolt Stadium. So we turn off Highway 1, and this sporting facility was named for Usain Bolt in his honor. It's just at the back of the university, and you can see we can't get inside, but this is the back of the pavilion, if you would like, or the stand. You can swing into the car park here so you can get a better view. Very large car park, and you can see the splendor of this facility. Just above, if you look to the left of center on the screen, you can see a rather modern looking building. That's the Errol Center for Creative Imagination, a division of the university. Some people wonder, why has Barbados named a facility as grand as this for a non-Barbadian? Our information is that Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, then principal of the KFIL campus, chose to honor Usain Bolt in this way because he himself is a Caribbean man, a Caribbean icon, and he believes very much in Caribbean integration, and he felt that it was fitting to honor Usain Bolt in this way. The gates are closed, so obviously we can't get in, but it's at least you have an idea of what it looks like. And this is the National Archives right across, another point of interest. This is the entrance, and for those who don't know, the National Archives experienced a fire some months ago, which was very traumatic for some. The Archives Department is a division of the Prime Minister's office under the Ministry of Culture. This is an assumption because that's what the sign says. Archives Department, Prime Minister's Office, Culture. And at the time of the fire, the minister with responsibility for culture was at the forefront of the interview. So not quite sure what division Archives falls under, but based on the sign, I think that's a reasonable assumption. Now this is a little backside of it, again in honor of those University of the West Indies graduates who studied at KFIL. You can see a gentleman ascending that stairwell there, staircase. Many a UE student have used those stairs and steps to get down here to the Esso gas station. Before there was this fantastic facility here, the School for Graduate Studies on our left. Doesn't seem as if we can get in there. Not in the mood for questions, but this facility here is where graduate studies are pursued. They seem to be having a function. And this used to be where the lepers were housed many years ago. Environmental Sanitation Unit, Ministry of Health. So I've always heard it said that that's where the lepers were kept way back in the day when leprosy was a major problem. But this is just to give you a different angle of the Center for Graduate Studies. So in other words, when you have to do your masters and your PhDs, this is where it's done. The University of the West Indies School for Graduate Studies and Research. I hope you can see the words on the building there. So all of this wasn't here, that the School for Graduate Studies maybe 20 years ago, or at least not in that format or to that extent. And that shows the growth of the university over the years. The KFIL campus is the smallest of the three, Mona being first, then St. Augustine and KFIL, and of course each campus had its own specialty. So Mona was renowned for medical studies, predominantly that is, and St. Augustine agriculture and engineering, and KPhil was where you had to go to pursue law. Well, of course, things have changed over the years, and we're just going to re-enter the Usain Bolt Stadium just so that we can give you another angle. But the university has changed over the years in that one can pursue medicine at KPhil, St. Augustine or Mona, law, and it's all sort of integrated now, so that's good and bad in that. Just turning up here, just so that you can see the back, in that having the campuses specialized forced Caribbean integration on us, because while students were compelled to leave Jamaica, Trinidad, Grenada, Tobago, to come to Barbados, to KPhil, to pursue law, that is, while that was compulsory at one time and compelled people to come here, it forced us to mix. And that is no longer the case, so you can stay in Trinidad and pursue law, or come to Barbados if you so desire. So that was the Usain Bolt Stadium, and we continue the drive. Yeah, so the downside was that entrance was granted on a pro rata basis. I hope you can see the beauty of the West Coast there. Admission was granted on a pro rata basis. Therefore, if the intake was, let's just say, 100 students or 50 students, you may have 5 from a smaller island and 20 from Jamaica and so on. So it was harder for students from the smaller islands, for example Barbados, even though the campus is in Barbados, it would be much harder for a Barbadian to get in. So now that it's sort of spread across the different campuses, it may be easier for some to pursue said education. And that brings us to the Sir Keith Hunt Hall, one of the newest halls, or the newer halls for the campus. To our left, Sir Keith Hunt, he was the principal in the 1990s, and he died recently, probably towards the end of 2024. And this is the famous Esso gas station, or as the students called it at that time, the Automat. And those are the pillars up there. That's the road up there where the students trekked through. And now this whole area has changed so much that there's now a hall of residence in honor of Sir Keith. So the apart from the 3 campuses being independent now in terms of one doing law at KPhil or Mona or St. Augustine, whichever they choose, there's also another campus in Antigua called the Five Islands campus. Now, just to show you, there is an entrance here to the Keith Hunt Hall of Residence, and that's it there. This is the gate, the main entrance. That's the main road there, the exit by the said gas station. All of this was bush at some point. And right ahead of us is another new facility, another new feature of the area, the Mandela Freedom Park, in honor of Nelson Mandela. And this, by the way, is the Cummins section of the ABC highway. And in a previous drive, we entered the university and did a full explanation of it, so we won't do that on this drive because we've already covered it. But this is the Errol Barrow Center for Creative Imagination on the left, and this building is the newest faculty of Culture, Creative and Performing Arts, and that is the Owen building. So all of this is expansion of the university. Now sit down there, and we're just going to turn in the car park. And this takes us into another residential area. But just to conclude the point, the Five Islands campus, sorry, this is the back of it. The Five Islands campus will now cater to many of the students in Antigua and some of the surrounding islands. So whereas in days of old, Kititians and Grenadians, Monstratians came to Barbados to study generally, the Five Islands campus creates another option. So as the university expands, we become less and less accustomed to each other or familiar with each other. And the expansion of the campuses is a sort of downhill for Caribbean integration. This is Walton Drive. Paradise Heights, I believe this is called. An older, long-standing neighborhood just across from the university. And many of these homes have apartments or bedrooms specific for student accommodation because they're just across from the campus. There are many homes here that were built or renovated specifically to accommodate or with student accommodation in mind. East Chalmont Close. You can see this particular property here. It looks like it's shouting to students, come rent me. Very quiet area. And there are several university lecturers who live here as well. Even in some of the properties that are rented, and in some cases rented by the university for their staff. And every turn gives you a lovely view of the ocean. So you have an idea of this neighborhood. You can see from the designs that it's by no means a new development. We have to reverse onto the main road because there's nowhere to turn down there, and then it continues down this end. This is the dead end here. That would be described as a gully or part gully, but there are some official gullies, deep gullies where people go hiking and use for different recreational reasons, and then there are just sort of informal areas that people refer to as a gully, which just means a sink in the land. And here we are again at the end of it. And you can see a bit better on this side. There's actually a fence down there for this person's property, and you can see that there's a lot of nothing down there but just bush. So this is a St. Michael residential area, one of many that we will be covering on these drives exploring the parish of St. Michael. I think you've seen enough of this particular neighborhood. And here comes the rain. The rain isn't going to distort our view. If you look just behind this green, you can see a road there and some properties. That's the end of another residential area, which you will see at some point. There's a nice view here as well. These properties have a lovely view of the sea. All of them are dead ends, cul-de-sacs. So if they're looking out, they may be wondering, who is driving that Mazda 3 turning up and down in our neighborhood? And you know, nowadays neighborhoods are governed by WhatsApp chats, and everybody gives their information quickly. So let's hope no one is uncomfortable. We're just trying to showcase the road network of Barbados and share some information about places to see in Barbados, places to live, places to invest, and if you're a Barbadian living overseas, places to remember. Back onto the ABC highway, just exiting Paradise Heights. We enter the Caricom Research Park, and the first illustrious building is called the Owen Arthur Caricom Research Complex. So we enter here as we see the archives of the West Indies Federation. That's a very important place for Caribbean integration. The Alistair McIntyre building. Alistair McIntyre was a very integral personality at the university, and the first floor is the office of the Vice Chancellor, and the ground floor is the West Indies Federal Archives Center, Archives of the West Indies Federation, KFIL Campus Archives also. So you can see how beautiful this area is, and just across from the university, this is the Worrell Hall over there. So Frank Worrell Hall, halls of residence. As you drive down the ABC highway, you can see it. And this building, you can see Owen Arthur's name, Owen Arthur Caricom Research Center, Prime Minister of Barbados until 2008, I believe. And just behind it is the KFIL School of Business and Management. Very beautiful building. So you can see this from Walton Drive. We showed it to you when we turned at the Airlie Center for Creative Imagination. That was the back, and this is the front. Parking at the back. Very well thought out facility. So for those viewing from Trinidad and Tobago, this is the equivalent of the Sir Arthur Lockjack School of Business and Management. This is the KFIL School of Business, and they do very much the same things. School of Business and Management, and that's the back of the Owen Arthur building. So this is the campus. Owen Arthur, as Prime Minister, was very, very invested in the success of the university and allowed for the donation of certain lands for the campus, and I think this is a fitting way to honor his legacy as a leading figure of his time. He was a regional figure. He was the main voice for the free movement of people, and he died maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember, but he was the longest serving Prime Minister of Barbados from 1994 to 2008. Of course, he gave way to Prime Minister Frundell Stewart. Prime Minister David Thompson in 2008, and then Prime Minister Thompson died in 2010, and then Frundell Stewart became Prime Minister and then won an election in his own right, 2013. So this is now West Terrace, and this area reminds me of Belleville. This is 2nd Avenue, and a short while ago when we were in Paradise Heights, we pointed out a neighborhood to you that appeared to be overlooking Paradise Heights. This is the neighborhood, West Terrace, and it's very similar to Belleville in that it's easy to navigate your way through. It's just 1st Avenue, 2nd Avenue, and it goes on like that. So this is 2nd Avenue, and this is where the majority of students live if they are off campus. And we have to be careful, because at some point this road enters, or it re-enters, St. James. Because remember, we are just at the entry point of St. Michael. So this is 4th Avenue. We just turned off this road, West Terrace. This is 3rd Avenue on the left. We just turned down there, 2nd Avenue on the right. So we missed 1st Avenue. Always admire this house. It looks like a bit of a castle looking over. It's a fantastic view of the sea from this area. So this is the 1st Avenue, West Terrace. This was where we entered a short while ago, and if you can see across there to the left of the camera, overlooking the 3W's campus, at the Caveville campus of the University of the West Indies, overlooking the 3W's oval, are those 3 busts of the 3W's themselves. So if you look carefully, they sit on a W that was designed by the owners of the Caribbean Wax Museum, sculptor Arthur Edwards. This is the same house here on the right, and the fantastic view of the sea. And they built the W to represent the 3W's, and at each point at the top of the W rests one of the heads of Weeks, Worrell and Walcott. A nice place to come and visit. So this takes us all along West Terrace, 5th Avenue on the right, 6th Avenue on the left, and 7th. And I think at this point we start to re-enter St. James, so we're just going to turn around. This is the 9th Avenue, so we'll just find somewhere to turn that is comfortable off this main road. I'm almost certain we are in St. James right now, so we don't want to go too much further, because St. James is going to be done, I believe, after St. Michael. No? Yeah. We started at St. Lucy and we went down St. Andrew, St. Joseph, all the way down St. Philip, Christchurch, and we're making our way back up. And then the last two will be St. Thomas and St. George, the only two parishes of the 11 that do not touch the sea. So we're back on this West Terrace main road. Oh, here's a police vehicle. We just turn up 7th Avenue so you can see what houses look like on this side. This is still within St. Michael. And then from here, when you get to the end of 7th Avenue, you see even more homes further up in another residential area. And you can access that area by the same road that we just turned in. This is one of the better avenues to get a view of both sides, the ocean and further inland. So this area is rather student oriented. It's just at the above the campus, and it's a nice way for many homeowners to earn additional income. And there are also apartments. So if you're a young student planning your university career, hopefully this drive will help you to understand some of the options that you have for accommodation in St. Michael. In fact, Cave Hill's address is Cave Hill, St. Michael. Back on the ABC highway, the Gordon Cummins section, and then off we go into another residential area known as Wanstead Gardens and Wanstead Heights. So this is Wanstead Gardens here on the right. And a peculiar thing about Barbados is that, okay, this is Wanstead Court, where many students lived, but based on the vehicles I'm seeing there, it seems that there are also a lot of locals now. The thing about Barbados is that anywhere that is named Gardens, Heights, Terrace, Court, what is it? Heights, terraces, court, gardens tend to be a bit more upscale residential areas. As you can see, this area is well developed. Apartment block there. Many students, many students have passed through that building. I'm amazed at the color scheme of that building when I pass here. Situated in Wanstead Gardens. And we just turn left and a quick right, so you can see some of the beautiful homes in here and apartments. These apartments and this area is not as close to the campus, so the rent would be cheaper, a bit cheaper, because you have a bit of a walk. But the university also has a shuttle, and the students use that to get to and from campus. So students who live here get to integrate with many of the locals and form friendships that last a lifetime. We have to be careful out here because we are venturing into St. James again. We want to keep this drive today strictly St. Michael. St. James will have its turn. Back onto the main road and start making our exit. So we were just touching Husband's Gardens, but this is the exit from Wanstead Gardens. And the This is Cave Hill Road. If you use this road, you can get to Queen's College. Of course, there are other properties on the left and the right, other residential areas. This is Airlie Tenantry, so it's a different type of neighborhood with a mixture of properties. As you can see, sitting out there chatting and enjoying the Sunday evening, as is typical for residential areas like this. It's very different from some of the others where the folk spend more of their time indoors. Bumpy, so it's not the best thing for the camera, but hopefully it will balance out. Now just across there you can see this road ends, and behind there those large houses are in Husband's Crescent. And Husband's is particularly synonymous with St. James. So houses with this style speak to a certain era. You can see they're on sort of on pillars, and that's similar to how chattel houses were built, except these are concrete structures but still with the pillars so that you can access under the house. this is the entrance to Wanstead Gardens, which we exited a short while ago, and you can see what looks like university students coming in after Christmas vacation. The Benny Hill Apartments to our right. Back in the day, they used to refer to that as the Trinidad and Tobago Embassy, because so many Trinidadian and Tobagonian students live there. I believe the campus resumes classes sometime this week. But on Tuesday is a big holiday in Barbados, as they would call it, a bank holiday. A bank holiday, or as others would call it, a public holiday. I think in England it's also referred to as a bank holiday. Forgot to turn off here. So we came here a short while ago when we turned up 7th. Before we got to 7th Avenue, we turned up 9th Avenue, I believe. And we turned around. These were the houses that we could see behind us. This is a very upscale area. Wanstead Heights. You can see a fantastic view from here, and this area looks down onto 7th Avenue, West Terrace, and 8th and 9th and so on, where we visited a short while ago. And this is Wanstead Gardens Heights, I believe. To the left is the home of the late Malcolm Marshall, great cricketer. This is Lily Drive, Rose Drive, and this was where we turned a short while ago. So I know this road, 9th Avenue, gets into St. James. So we've just gone straight through the two developments, Wanstead Gardens, Wanstead Heights. This is Wanstead Heights Main Road. So you have Wanstead Gardens and Wanstead Heights. And Wanstead Heights was where we just drove through by Rose Garden. And then you have 7th Avenue, 3rd Avenue, Wanstead Terrace. So you've seen Wanstead Terrace, Wanstead Gardens, Wanstead Heights in one drive, apart from Paradise Heights, and then you saw one tenantry and a piece of husbands. So we've just done that in the past hour on part 2 of exploring the parish of St. Michael. And this is another angle that you can see the 3 W's to our right. one more residential area to cover, and that will be it for today's drive. So we rejoined the ABC highway at the Cummins section. You can see that lovely rainbow. We just had a sprinkle. So there are some turnoffs here, as you can see, on the right. This one, and the name of this development is Pleasant View. Pleasant View is another long-standing upscale residential area much older area with several apartments, such as this one on the right. And this residential area is right behind the Faculty of Law. So many law students lived right in here. Many of the attorneys scattered across the Caribbean lived in here, studied in here. And there was a little back gate to the campus that takes you right onto the Faculty of Law. So the students would come through here and access that gate. These are homes in here, and the sun is starting to do its thing, so we have to check our angle. Pleasant View. Notice the change in properties to the left as we make our exit. And we just turn here. This is back on the highway. So it's a sort of a circular road in and out. And you can see several apartment blocks are built in here. And these homes in most cases have apartments attached to them. So you can see the cell tower there on the camera to the right of center. That actually sits at the back of the law faculty. So this is a very convenient area for the students, the law students, because it's right behind the campus. Just come down to the end here. In a bit of a turn, but through this person's property you can see the port of Bridgetown further down. So this is Pleasant View. attorneys general across the region many of them lived here at some point. Attorneys who graduated here from all over, who live all over the world, lived right here. And we just turn into this property and you can see the campus is there, and there's the little gate, or one of the gates. It seems to have been closed off now, but the students made their trek. And if you have a class at 8 o'clock, you could leave home at 6 minutes to 8 and be at your desk on time. So that's it for today. Signing off at Pleasant View Terrace, D&J Drives, saying thank you for your support, the growing support. Please continue to subscribe to our channel and spread the word. There are many people who have questions about Barbados in terms of coming here to study or to invest or on vacation. And we encourage you to share this information because it can help people make informed decisions. It is now 4:55. We've just spent an hour and 7 minutes with you, and we want to thank you for all of your comments and all of the feedback, and we hope that part 2 of exploring the parish of St. Michael was useful. What we did today was that we entered St. Michael from the parish of St. James, and we explored surrounding neighborhoods and important facilities such as the University of the West Indies and its halls of residence and the Caricom Research Complex. Until next time, this is D&J Drive saying farewell.